Here we are, another edition of What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakely. On this week's program, CAA gave us a fresh list of worst roads this week. A patch of pavement in Orillia made the top 10 provincially. 3 in Barrie made the top 5 regionally. We'll break things down for you and find out how effective the worst roads list really is. Mayor Alex Nuttall stops by to defend Council's decision to build a sports park and parade grounds on the waterfront and perhaps clear up some misconceptions people have. Big celebration for Gilda's Club this weekend. We'll tell you about that. And something called a trash dash is a couple of weeks away. We'll get you geared up for that as well. Conversations start after this. CAA unveiled its list of teeth-clenching, bone-jarring, fender-rattling roads in the province this week, as voted in by drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians. Aberdeen Avenue in Hamilton got the most votes. Lackley Street in Orillia was the only local road in the top 10. 3 streets in Barrie made it to the top 5 in CAA's central region, Huronia Road, Essa Road, and Victoria Street. So what happens now? What does CAA do with the information, and does it make a difference? Barrie 360's Ian Maclennan gets answers from CAA Government Relations Consultant Brian Pirvu.
How long has CAA been doing this?
CAA has been administering the annual Worst Roads campaign for about 21 years. It's been a great opportunity for road users to have their say and take to the campaign to nominate a road that tends to frustrate them.
And why do you do this?
Based off of the research that we've done among our CAA members, we noticed that over 80% are concerned about the state of the roads, right? And many CAA members and road users in Ontario aren't necessarily venting about the road issues with government, and they're more venting with their friends and family. So we use this as an opportunity to have their voice heard and to nominate a road which tends to frustrate them on their daily commute.
Do levels of government, particularly we're talking maybe municipal, do they pay attention to these results?
Yes, they do. We've had multiple success stories where municipalities have responded to the campaign or have done road infrastructure projects on the roads that have ended up on our list. The biggest example would be Hamilton, which took Barton Street East. It took the number 1 spot in 2022, and the city of Hamilton responded by announcing $9 million in funding. And even in Barrie, we had a new road that came on the regional list last year, Tiffin Street, which was confirmed by the city of Barrie that it was officially repaved. So we know that municipalities are paying attention to the campaign, and we look to have those conversations to advocate for infrastructure funding and look for opportunities to prioritize these roads to be fixed.
Now, province-wide in the top 10, Lackley Street, Orillia was number 10. And looking back last few years, that street has made the list before. And in Barrie, at least in the central region, it's Huronia Road, Essa Road, and Victoria Street. Is it like the smooth ride, bumpy ride complaint, or how much of a factor now do bicycle lanes play or other issues?
Well, for the campaign, potholes, poor road maintenance, and traffic congestion tend to be the top issues. But about a quarter of our respondents reference lack of cycling infrastructure, right? Which shows that from a campaign that started with potholes, it now more people who use different modes of transportation are taking to the campaign. And Lackley Street has made its way to the top 10. It's been on our list for quite some time, but it's in the middle of a large-scale infrastructure project. Phase 2 began in spring of this year, but when it's complete, we hope that that road comes off the list. And even Huronia Road has been identified as a road that the city of Barrie wants to pay more attention to, and they have plans to include road resurfacing, underground infrastructure improvements, and potentially active transportation up until 2031. So we do see that the city of Barrie is aware of that, and they're attending to these roads and looking for ways to make sure they're properly maintained.
Well, Barrie 360 is on Huronia Road, so we'll keep you posted.
Absolutely, yeah. We monitor these projects as much as we can, and always look to see municipalities respond to the campaign and make sure these roads are properly maintained.
Does CA do any tweaking with its survey, or, what change? You talked about the bike lanes, and we're going back, 20, 21 years. What changes you might have seen, or, things that get added to the equation?
Well, as I mentioned before, it was mostly fixated on potholes, and while potholes still remain one of the top issues, we're seeing that pedestrian infrastructure and cycling infrastructure are growing in popularity with this campaign. Traffic congestion also is a big one that's growing, and once the results are in after the voting period, we then work with the Residential Civil and Construction Alliance of Ontario, RCCAO, to verify these roads and to make sure that there are persistent road issues on these roads, and then we share these roads in the top 10 to show media, road users, and governments about what roads tend to frustrate the average road user.
Okay, Brian, I really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, and smooth travels.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Big doings this weekend in support of Gilda's Club in Barrie, a Sunday afternoon at the lake. It's a secret location until you buy tickets. With a special guest band you'll have to wait on as well. Barrie 360's Will Conkin gets the details, some of them from Gilda's new executive director, Murray Roach.
As a refresher, what is Gilda's Club?
Yeah, so Gilda's Club was built on the legacy of Gilda Radner, a well-known comedian. Gilda unfortunately passed away of ovarian cancer in 1989. So for those that may not know Gilda, she was one of the founding members of, comedy in Toronto, along with, John Candy, Eugene Short, Martin Levy, and she graduated to Not Ready for Primetime Players on Saturday Night Live. So really put live comedy on the map from that perspective. Just a wonderful lady with lots of energy. When she diagnosed with cancer, and she died in 1989 of ovarian cancer, one of her journeys through that is that she felt, even though she had support, she felt very alone in her journey. And so she said that, no one should have to go through cancer alone. And when she passed, her husband, Gene Wilder, another well-known performer, and her psychotherapist, Joanna Bull, set out to build something in her legacy. And she passed away in 1995. They opened the first Gilda's Club in New York City, and it's spread across North America. Interestingly, there's only 2 in Canada, one in Toronto, and one ended up invariably in Barrie because of a wonderful lady by the name of Patricia Gilbert felt we needed a support network for people going through cancer in the Barrie region. So the clubhouse has been open for 15 years. I think it's still a well-hidden secret. There's a lot of people don't know what goes on behind Gilda's red door. The red door was chosen to represent Gilda's vibrancy, and so we offer cancer support to people who are emotional support to people going through cancer. And our facilities right across the street from RVH, we have between 500 and 600 members on an ongoing basis. And of those 500 and 600 members, they come to the clubhouse and we offer free programming. And we take a holistic approach, and it stems from our 5 core pillars of support groups, Talk It Out, healthy lifestyle activities, creative expression classes, educational workshops, and social connection activities. So we provide both virtual and in-person, and we welcome new members to the clubhouse on a weekly basis. Our commitment to meeting the needs of our community is unwavering, and we're continually seeking new ways to provide more support to the network that we're working in Barrie. With more aggressive screening, there's been a significant increase in younger women that are getting screened for breast cancer. So between 18 and 40 now, so we call that a youth program. So we've developed a youth program for people to come in starting in July. Gilda's Club Simcoe Muskoka is a truly nonprofit organization. We do not receive any government funding. Every dollar that we spend in that clubhouse is for free for the membership. And so we rely on volunteers, donors, sponsors, and major fundraising like the event this weekend, the event by the lake, a Sunday afternoon by the lake. So the cancer numbers and why we continue to raise money aggressively is that today in Canada, 675 people will be diagnosed with cancer, and 241 people will die today of cancer. And it's only getting, unfortunately, increasing. So cancer is a very inclusive club for all the wrong reasons. 47,000 men will die this year in Canada and 41,000 women. And this Sunday is our largest fundraiser of the year. It's a Sunday afternoon at the lake. It's been running for about 8-9 years now. And it is our largest fundraiser, and it's Sunday, June 2nd from 3 till 7 at a stunning exclusive lakeside location in Oro-Medonte. And only people that will purchase tickets will know where that is because it's graciously donated by a wonderful group of people. So tickets are $250 per person, which includes exquisite food and drinks from local restaurants. We have live performance from a well-known band that will keep you on your feet. We cannot divulge that until people are purchasing tickets. The band has requested that, but everyone will know who the band is when they hear it. And we have comedian Andrea Murray. We also have auctions, both silent auction and live auctions. The live auction items are wonderful. There's one called Seeds to Sow, which is a private walking tour of a temporary exhibit of public art donated by the public art coordinators of the city of Barrie. Second is It's All Good, a sunset sailboat cruise on Kempenfelt Bay, donated by Chris Adams of Adams Consulting. And the third one, It's 5 o'clock Somewhere, is a half-day cruise on Georgian Bay aboard a 40-foot motor yacht, donated by Scott Fairley of GFW Litigation Advocacy. So to purchase tickets, you can visit our Gilda's Club Simcoe Muskoka website and go to Gilda's Club events or email Suzanne at gildasclubsimcoemuskoka.org.
How should attendees come? Is it formal? Is it informal? Kind of what's the kind of style you got?
That's a good question. It is formal. It is a formal event, and it's one of 3 or 4 formal events in Barrie that people put on their calendar and say this is a dress-up event, and it's all for a good cause.
I think you mentioned it before of how Gilda's Club, the funding-wise, these events are really important. So kind of maybe touch on that, just maybe again.
Yeah, so the thing is, as I said, we do not receive government funding. And so every dollar that is spent in that clubhouse providing free programming to free membership has to come from donors, sponsors, and events like this. So it's really, it's supporting the community. And I think, as I mentioned, cancer is a pretty inclusive club for all the wrong reasons. And I don't think I can talk to anybody walking down a street in Barrie that would not know somebody at this point in time that has been affected by cancer or in the past. So it's something that we want to continue offering program in the legacy of Gilda, and no person should walk through this cancer journey alone.
Overall, now with your new position as executive director, what were your first thoughts of that you wanted to accomplish or maintain with Gilda's Club?
Well, I think the first thing that I saw, and I'm embarrassed to say it myself, is that I do know Gilda's story, and I did lose my dad to cancer. I knew there was a Gilda's Club in Barrie, and I knew board of the directors. And until I decided to join them, I wasn't aware of all the stuff that went on in that clubhouse. And I was blown away by the first time I walked in and saw all the programs, got to meet the members, and say we need to do a better job of letting people know that there is a support network in Barrie for people to join. And I know when my father was passing with cancer in a small town that many people didn't go and speak with them because they didn't know what to say. So there wasn't a whole bunch of people that could go and get together and say, I'm going through this cancer treatment, I am too, right? And so that's what this is. It's a wonderful facility. It's warm, it's inviting, and we have people go in and they sit and they talk about their journey and get the support they need from an emotional and social component.
Really appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
That website again for ticket information, gildasclubsimcoemuskoka.org. Click on fundraising events. What Barrie's Talking About is a weekly podcast featuring the best Barrie and Simcoe County have to offer and more. You can get caught up and make it easy to keep up in the future by subscribing to What Barrie's Talking About through any podcast distributor. Still to come on What Barrie's Talking About, it's a done deal, but the Waterfront sports field and parade grounds is still getting a lot of debate. We get the mayor to explain a few things. And what's this trash dash happening in Midhurst? Now this.
It's cool to care.
It's a well-known fact blood transfusion saves lives. It's also a well-known fact that the world relies on voluntary unpaid donations to fill the need for blood. The need for blood never ends. Canadian Blood Services in Barrie is calling on you to help save a life. Please consider donating today. Appointments are mandatory and must be booked in advance. Book today at blood.ca through the Give Blood app or by calling 1-888-2-DONATE.
Cool to Care is brought to you by the Peggy Hill team, keeping it real all the way to sold. Reach out now at peggyhill.com.
It's cool to care with 107.5 Cool FM.
This is What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakely. Still a lot of discussion about Barrie City Council's decision to build a sports complex on the waterfront. Loss of trees, loss of waterfront. Why couldn't they build it somewhere else? Why was there no public consultation? Or was there? Ian Maclennan called Mayor Alex Nuttall in to get some answers.
Mayor Nuttall, the sports field has been approved, and that will also be used by the Sea Cadets. And I guess right to the meat and potatoes, there is opposition to it still. People saying there wasn't consultation, there wasn't enough notice. Let's talk about that first. How was the public alerted about this, or were they the ones that should have been paying attention?
Well, look, I think obviously in today's day and age, we struggle as a society, as a community, to get all of the information the same way that we used to, specifically when you don't have that print media taking place in a similar way that it did 5 years ago or 3 years ago. It does leave some difficulties. But here's what I think that is important on this. Number one is in terms of consultation. This was a response to a petition, form of consultation with the public, where they were requesting the Sea Cadets to move to the South Shore, to build a building, to have a parading ground that, when we realize the size of a parading ground, it's similar to the size of it's actually larger than let's say a soccer field. That we don't just want to put all of that into one use. We want to allow that to be used by many community groups. And so it was actually a response to consultation that had this entire idea come forth. The second thing is in April, I sent out a newsletter, and in that newsletter was the Waterfront strategic plan. It talked about the planting of trees. We're putting 1,000 new trees on the waterfront. It talked about moving the Sea Cadets to the South Shore. It talked about creating of an Indigenous space beside the Allendale Station, the parading ground and sports field. So, as a heads up, every door in the city of Barrie did get that newsletter. And in the ensuing 3 weeks, there was obviously decisions that were taking place.
Was there public consultation prior to a decision being made with, say, the Allendale neighborhood or the Minette's Point?
I'm not sure. As mayor, a lot of that stuff happens in the council side. I think that what I've heard from Allendale folks and from some of those folks over in Minette's Point is that there wasn't enough. I personally met with the Allendale Association prior to the general committee meeting on May the 8th, I believe it was. But I think that there's always going to be these types of things when we don't have the ability to put paper at every door. And just as a point to drive it home, there actually was paper at every door through my newsletter that obviously just either didn't get read or it wasn't picked up what was meant or anything like that. So, we obviously through this process are going to learn a few things, try to do it better next time to make sure everybody's alerted and up to date. But when it comes to the process as a whole, this was one of our city policies that's a response to public input and consultation. Bring in a petition over 500 and see where it goes. They came back with a petition of 2,000 some odd, maybe 3,000 total requests for this move for the cadets to the South Shore alongside a parading ground at sports field.
How much of that green space, if you like, those trees and whatever, will be lost? So a couple of things. Well, right now we're trying to work with our staff to make it smaller. The reality is what was proposed to me is too large. It's too large because essentially it would have allowed for 2 soccer fields in size, and I get we don't want to build something that's too small and therefore can't be used to its fullest. At the same time, what was proposed was essentially allowing not quite, but close to twice the size of BMO Field in Toronto, where Toronto FC plays. Like that's maybe overkill for me. I think the opportunity to have the parading ground, it's 160 paces by 80 paces. That's similar to the size of a soccer field or football field or lacrosse or what have you, rugby. And having that down there, it should leave most of the trees alone and the greenery alone.
But I don't think you can take this one piece of the waterfront plan and say, this is it. Because the reality is that we're also planting 1,000 new trees on our waterfront. That's one of the decisions that was made.
That's over 10 years, correct?
That's over 10 years. But the cost per tree is around $500 to plant. And we have about $370,000 sitting in that bank account right now. So we have enough to be able to plant, call it 700 trees or 600 trees already. And I think that we're going to proceed pretty aggressively on that front to make sure that we can work with the Rotary clubs to allow for the plantings to take place, to attract people into that natural feeling of space. The cherry bud tree is one of them that is being looked at right now, trying to create that fall and spring type festival that you'll see in Toronto or Washington, D.C. or New York. So there's lots happening down at the waterfront for sure. It'll be, after this plan is complete, it'll be a more naturalized area with a greater tree canopy than exists today. And I think that when you take that out, it all comes out in the wash, and therefore it's a great plan.
Now, the zoning obviously meets what's allowed there, the sports field. Does it meet what the objectives are for the waterfront strategic plan? Some that were at council said it doesn't go with the flow, so to speak.
Well, it's right in the waterfront strategic plan. So I would say that, yes, it does. And I think that most of council, 9-2 vote on this, say that it does. And even those that didn't support it, one of the councillors didn't support it, talked about it going anywhere in their ward. But when you look at it, there was a proposal for a dome at Nouvelle Alliance. And that was rejected. You'll remember that was rejected before my time. The proposals that were coming in from the public were, why can't we put it at Sunnydale Park? I can tell you what the answer to that would be from the folks in that area. And so a lot of the time when we're discussing these things, it doesn't have to be about this particular subject. We've got to look at the city as a whole. We've got to look at what we're trying to achieve. We've got to look at what services are missing. We have volleyball, we have hockey, we have basketball on the waterfront. This allows just for a few more sports. So if this wasn't perhaps falling in line with the waterfront strategic plan, how do those existing services fall in line? I think that they all do. We want this to be a people place and a place that every member of our community can enjoy. I've had proposals for that space for an encampment from one group of people. I don't support that. I've had proposals for one gentleman had asked for a hotel and restaurants to go there. I don't support that. Having a field where some kids can go play, or they can parade on behalf of the cadets, or maybe the Grand Simcoe Foresters can do the same. Some more space to watch the air show. I think it does fit with the waterfront strategic plan.
And people who may not have lived here long too, I mean, this waterfront debate has gone on eons. There's no condos blocking the waterfront, but there have been proposals also for baseball stadium. I believe too, hotel convention center back in the day. So it's a juicy piece of property. But let's talk about the cadets. This big move. I think you said when you were on council was it 2006 or so?
Yes, sir.
That this had been debated for decades, trying to get them home.
It was debated for 10 years before I was elected to council in 2006. So we've been trying to get the Sea Cadets a better space.
Who are the Sea Cadets? These are kids, right?
Yeah, it's a Navy League and Sea Cadets. So they're anywhere from, call it 8 to 18 years old, or maybe 20. They also have other smaller community groups that work with them as well. Unfortunately, they were there and the world changed around them. When you think about the foot of Bayfield Street where they're located right now, at one point it wasn't too difficult of a situation for them to be able to get inside of one of their sailboats and go out. But you've now got a marina on one side that's very active. The transient slips on the other side. They're boxed in. There's lots of boat traffic there. And, they need somewhere they can have a little bit more security and peace to be able to go out and undertake their training and their services. And you got to remember, this is an organization that's preparing our young people to enter the military in many instances, in this case, the Navy. And, we need to make sure that we're giving them the respect that is due at the same time as doing what's right for the city of Barrie. And so that was the push for the move from the foot of Bayfield Street over to the South Shore Community Center, now the General John Hayter South Shore Community Center, and it's one that I think will serve the city and serve the Sea Cadets very well for years to come.
Now, it's an active waterfront in terms of public use, whether it's hiking or walking, bicycling, but you drive by in the summertime, people are shooting hoops, there's some volleyball going on, and canoeing, and winter it's hockey. So how do you find that balance, or how challenging is it? Because people want to be active, but yes, protect their waterfront too, their green space.
Well, I think when people are asking for protection of the waterfront, what I understand and what I hear it to be is to keep it for the people. Don't let this thing be developed by developers. Don't put it into private ownership. And that's certainly what my position is on it. I would look and revel the opportunity to buy more waterfront. Obviously, we have to live within our financial means, but anything we can do to preserve that land going forward to be for public consumption, no matter where you're from in the city of Barrie, I think is a good move going forward. In terms of the spaces that we have available, I'm sure not everybody's a fan of the basketball, and not everyone's a fan of the workout equipment that's sprinkled around the waterfront. But the reality is that we need to have something for everybody there. And so far, it's been a really good job done over the years, and I think this is going to continue that going forward.
And you got chairs with umbrellas too, so there you go. I mean, yeah, but I'm wondering about the property, the Sea Cadets' current site, Bayfield Simcoe Street. There, what could go there? What's it zoned for? And is it a prime piece of property?
Well, to me, this is the most prime piece of property in the city of Barrie. When you think about the intersection between Bayfield Street, which I would argue is probably the most well-known street in the city of Barrie, and our waterfront of Lake Simcoe, Kempenfelt Bay. I mean, this is this center ice for us, right? So as I look forward, I think what's gonna happen, we're going to have to go out, maybe have a charrette, have an opportunity for folks to come in to feed into the process. We don't have an idea of where we're going to go. Maybe it'll be a public building of 1 or 2 stories, or maybe it's just flat green space, or maybe it's something that we can tie into the eventual market down there or some other use. But at this point, it's been 35 years. We haven't been able to crack the problem of helping the cadets get to the South Shore. So I think at this point, I'd like to lean on the community, lean on our public servants, and find something that fits really well downtown Barrie.
Barrie Families Unite is holding another trash dash to help tidy things up in Midhurst. It's on June 8th. Nikki Gland from the social media group stopped in to try to recruit Brian and MJ from the Rock 95 morning crew.
What does it mean? Because we've got trash and dash in there. Is it all together? Is it a little separate or what?
It is a little separate, yes. Thanks for having me this morning. We contemplated dashing and trashing at the same time, but that means we would actually have to throw litter down in the forest, which we didn't want to do. It's kind of counterintuitive to the whole point. So the trash part happens before the dashing. Okay. The trash part can happen anytime. Once you register, you'll get your instructions, but we're encouraging every registrant to pick up at least 1 bag of garbage from a public space. Take a picture of it, upload it, send it with your registration to our team, and you'll be entered on race day to win. We've got over $1,000 worth of gift cards from Cabela's and Tim Hortons and Kell's Garden and lots of great places. So people can win a prize by doing their part. And we hope if every registrant does it, we could end up with over 400 bags of litter also cleaned as a part of this event.
That's right. That's the goal. 400 bags.
Yeah.
So let's go for more than that. Let's go for 500,
more.
Right? Yeah. I mean, when you said that it's not trash and dashing at the same time, I thought it would kind of be nice because you get a break. For someone who's lazy like me, you go, I'm picking up some garbage, I get a breather.
Exactly. You don't have to, dash the whole entire time. I'm doing good for the environment here.
That's right. But it is set up nicely for people that are experienced, obviously, because there's 10 kilometers that is available for the trail, run, or walk, but also 1 kilometer and 5 kilometers?
Exactly, yeah. We wanted to make it open to everyone. We're hoping families will use this as an opportunity to get up on a Saturday morning, come out with their kids, and just model some great community behavior with their families and partake in this fun new fundraiser.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, we're looking forward to it. How can people register, get involved, and what is the requirement again? Do they have to be bringing garbage to the event to show the bag that they've got, or how does that work?
No, they don't have to bring the garbage with. They can take a photo of it, and we will take them out their word that they cleaned that bag of garbage up from a public place. And best place probably to come and get all the information is to Barrie barriefamiliesunite.com. It's on
Nice.
our homepage of our website.
If people are, say, around their neighborhood that looks fairly clean, are there any specific places that maybe you have seen that are particularly in need of some TLC from people to go and collect trash?
There's lots of parks, lots of just general laneways and places in our community. If you're looking for some inspiration, Clean Up Barrie, which we're collaborating with on this event, has their own Facebook page, and they're constantly posting different public cleanups that they're doing around the city. So pop over to their Facebook group and just ask the question, "Where's a good spot for me to go?" And they'll be sure to.
But the wind is blowing it everywhere. So
That's right.
wherever you are, right? We see many
Wherever you
parking
are, the
lots
trash
and
will be
everything.
there, yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it. That comes up June 8th. That is the Trash Dash at Midhurst Forest. And all the information is up on the website with barriefamiliesunite.com. Thanks for coming in, Nikki.
Thanks for having me.
Again, the Midhurst Trash Dash is June 9th. For more information, log on to barriefamiliesunite.com. And that's our program for this week. Thanks to Ian, MJ, Brian, and Will for their input, to Matt Ladder for his technical expertise, and to you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to What Barrie's Talking About, rate it, review it. You can also keep up with What Barrie's Talking About on X at Barrie360, on our website, barrie360.com, and there's our daily Kickstart podcast available from any streaming service and on our website. I'm Dan Blakely. Hope you'll join us again next week.